All right.
Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night podcast, where Navajo legends echo in the shadows. Darren and Dawn will guide you through the sacred fire of Native storytelling, where the old stories breathe, the unknown walks among us, and voices, long hidden, rise to be heard. And remember, don't whistle at night.
Are you comfortable working?
Hello. Welcome in, everybody. If you are here joining us after the show called The Chat, welcome in. I am Don Yazzie. This is Don't Whistle at Night. I am your host, Don Yazzie, and this is co-host
Darren Yazzie. Hey, what's going on?
How's it going? We are broadcasting live here on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans. We are coming to you live here on the Navajo Nation, my hometown, Monument Valley, Utah, on the Utah portion of the Navajo Nation. This is our first of many here. We're starting a little Patreon content, and we're going to be coming to you live out of remote areas, remote canyons, haunted areas, Bigfoot hot spots, Dogland crossing areas, UFO portals areas. So this is the beginning of what we want to do for everybody, to make some content so everyone can watch and, see our agony running from a monster. You'll see our face close up. And so don't mind us if there's traffic coming in and out. We're broadcasting live here. So another thing that I wanted to address with you guys is that Darren and I, we're although we're Yazzies, but we're family. Yeah, but we're not family. He comes from New Mexico, I come from Utah, and this is really rare that we're in the same place, breathing up the same air, if you will.
I drove through the roads. It's been a long time since I've been back here. Went through the Navajo Nation Kotaka Road, the Hopi Kotaka Road, and this place is really something else, and it's a real beautiful place out here. If you ever in Arizona, Utah, this is one place to see. This is one place to visit, and this is where we're from. This is where the people are from. One word that I heard him be called is the heart of the universe, and this place is very much it. And it's really just as beautiful yet mysterious as most of the nations out here. So later on tonight we'll do we're shooting some content like Don was saying, and we'll get a Patreon going, and we'll go ahead and visit a couple of these areas out that we have on. So just to let you know that we're all about it, instead of we can't stay at the house and make do it at the house. Where we want to go out and show you guys these areas and be about it, I guess you would say. So, and being back at the house, being back home, it's something else. And our guest that we're having on, Lodge Tales, we're bringing back Rodney Williamson. He was out here too. Sadly, I didn't get to meet him. Don did. And they switched. They met each other's families, and it's good to meet each other. It's good to talk to each other, especially with the different foreign nations out here. I think SkinWalker Ranch, Fred met its first Blackfoot native out there. So that's a real treat to see. That was something else to be a part of. Sadly, I wasn't there, but now I'm here, and we'll do what we can for you guys tonight for the Patreon too. So it's nice to be back home. It's really nice, and this is just the Navajo Nation. That's all it's about right there. back in the West, olden movie days, spaghetti western, you would have John Ford. Yeah, you would have a
John Wayne.
yeah, all of them running through this areas. And if we can, we'll go ahead and visit a couple of these areas. But yeah, it's something different. So instead of being back at the house and putting up a screen, background, we got nature's background right here, and it is very beautiful. It's you call it sublime, you would call it. So it's something else, it's something really nice to see and is be part of it. So as for right now, I guess we'll go ahead and read the comments, and shortly Ron, he's taking care of family business, family first. So yeah, let's go ahead and do it.
All right, what is up, everybody? What is up? Yeah, we're live here on the Four Corners of the region of Monument Valley, Utah, my area, and that was Tepetaziskwe. Yeah, I think I said it right. But in translation, it means a white streak in the rock, and then the other one is a gathering of rocks. So a couple of them that they translate off of that one word. So translating Navajo, you got to dissect multiple words in one. So when you say one word in Navajo, it means more than one thing. It means four things usually. So as right behind me, I don't know if you guys can see, but there's this stone right here. There's that mitten, the mitten. So that's a portal. Every now and then, if you guys get lucky, whoever gets lucky that's cruising by, they'll actually witness a portal opening right on top of that mitten. It'll be a circle. It'll be 3 circles sometimes going up, and a UFO would enter, and or UAP or whatever you want to call it, it'll come in and come out. So, yeah, so it's a very high, strange place, and that's how it made me, your boy. But okay, what's up, Sunglass Grandma Cat? How's it going? What's up, Z Sun Dragon? What is up, brother man? Thank you for being here as always. Hey, Kira Jade. She says, hi, Don. Hi, Darren. What's up?
What's up?
Oh yeah, let's see here. Who else is here? Jesse HDQ8PR. Good evening, everyone. Hello from Bloomfield, New Mexico. Hey, our neighbor. We're just right around there. Hop a skip away. We can see you guys' light pollution, by the way. Keep it down. No, just kidding. BCAS finally been able to catch a live again. Hey, what's up, BCAS? I was wondering if you caught a bullet. I was like, dang, I need to check on our cop, man. What's up, man? Hey, we're glad you joined us. How's it going? J Rose, bunny ears. Oh yeah. There's one right here too. But it looks like a dog man. I always think that's Anubis right there. I always call that Anubis. Yeah, strange. Jess HDQ8PR. You will actually experience what you want to show people. Oh yeah. Yep. RLAB99, sweet on location tonight. Yes. We're going to be making some content for you guys tonight. We're going to my location where I experienced Sasquatch. So we're going to be going over there, and I hope, hopefully we catch something for you guys. And you see our agony on our face when we're scared. Patreon content.
Right.
Hey, there he is.
Hey, what's up, Rodney?
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, this is the one area you should visit, man. We got Monument Valley right here. We got our live nature background going on. So we're out here. We're going to be shooting some content, and after this, we'll be live. So if you want to, man, jump on right afterwards, and we'll show you around these areas. This is where Don's from, and he's seen everything that made him right here. And later on, we'll be able to go visit my areas of my home, and I'll show you everything about it. And my reservation, they're Navajo, but they're not with the Navajo Nation. So but it's a small, beautiful place too, and you can't really beat it, bro. You can't really beat all this. I'm pretty sure it's a bit different than your Blackfoot out there, but man, it's very nice.
Little dry out here, little bit dry out here. we got the wind, so you might feel at home if it's blowing out here. So no worries.
Yep.
Yeah. We're I just got done explaining to the audience that there's a monolith right here that you can't really see. It's the mitten, and it's a iron oxidized, so it's a monolith, and it's really strange because one of the only places that's exactly identical to that is in Australia, what I was telling you about earlier. So every now and then you'll see a portal opening up. There'll be three circles right on top of that mitten. And then you would see a UAP or a UFO enter or exit into our reality, into this reality. So that's a portal location, and that's a park, national monument park. So you can't be in there at certain times. So they protect that area for a reason. So a lot of the national parks, they're usually always protected for a reason, like Bigfoot, portals, little people. So same deal all over. So probably the same deal in your place, to your neck of the woods. I'm pretty sure there's portals all over the place, grid line all over the earth. So this is one of them right here. And we're going to turn on the lights as soon as it gets dark, and you guys watch our six, okay? Who knows? I ran into my SkinWalker like about 2 miles down the way over here. So you never know what's going to happen. But yeah, welcome in Rodney, everybody. Oh, did he freeze? Oh, there he is. Oh, damn,
I'm still here. I'm just listening.
I was like, no. Go ahead, say that again.
No, I'm just listening in. I'm just being still.
Okay. Hey, little wolf, welcome. Okay. All right. So let's we'll continue the chat a little bit later, but let's get into our guest tonight is Rodney Williamson Sr. of the Blackfeet Nation. And yeah, I'm gonna give you the mic, and Rodney, you can go ahead and introduce yourself to the people that don't know you or the first time listening to you here. Go ahead, brother.
Okay, Nick. So, snitane stake otokan. Hapskapi pikani. So my name is Rod Williamson. I'm from the Blackfeet Res, and tonight Don asked me to come on because we had recently went to the SkinWalker Ranch, and we kind of had similar stories about our tricksters as well, and it kind of opened my mind a little bit because the trickster part of it. Don talks about these spirits around there, and one of them being a trickster. Well, in our way, our trickster kind of left a long time ago, and we haven't seen him. There's one recent time people have seen that trickster, but that was it. He's pretty much been taken back by the creator, is what we say. But aside from that, did you want to go into that, Don? Did you want to jump right into all of that?
Oh, it's you can open it up with your the deity, the Blackfeet deity story, and then we can talk about your experience at SkinWalker Ranch at that location, if you don't mind.
Yeah, all right. So the Napi is the one that we call the trickster, which just means old man. And in the Blackfeet way, the reason he was sent here, see, he wasn't born or nothing like that. He was sent here by the creator. He was an image of himself. And so you can think of it as a twin also, if you want, you could think of it like that, but that's really not how we think of it. But in that same thing, he created an image just like himself and sent it down here. The reason he did that was because the people kind of forgot about the creator, and he wanted to, gather everybody back up and reteach them how to live, we say, a sinless life. How to live in balance with everything here, because natives used to live a sinless life. There was no, it was so pure that everybody knew all of our stories on the highest level. Like, they didn't need rights to those stories. Everybody knew them stories on that high level. And aside from that, nobody lied. That wasn't a thing. It happened here and there later on in our stories, and Napi start doing that toward the end. He became bad. He became mischievous, and he did these misdeeds. But during those original times, he wanted to get everybody back to live in that sinless life, because we were a part of the ecosystem. Today, we're more of a parasite. We're an invasive species when you think about the ecosystem.
Right.
But in those old days, we were very much a part of the ecosystem. We played a role in it. We contributed to it. And that's another reason, that the creator wanted Napi back here to teach us that again, because as the people branched out, they eventually forgot about him. This coming from the very first people that were here. Those folks that branched out, he was sent here. And so he walked amongst our people for quite a while. And toward the end of his time, that's when he started doing, like I was saying, he started doing all of those misdeeds. And eventually he was taken back. He was turned into a lone pine tree. Well, where he stood was a lone pine tree, but at that point was when he was taken back. And today when we see those lone pine trees, you'll see a Blackfeet. Oh, look, there's Napi. It's kind of a reminder of him. But what ended up happening with all his stories, because a lot of them are Genesis type stories, and what ended up happening with him was those stories kind of got turned into children's stories, like what to do and what not to do type stories. And there's quite a few of them that are relevant today that we still follow. For instance, one of them is the bullberry bushes, like how we harvest those bullberries. They're similar to those gray olive trees that are down around Utah that the Chinese brought. They got thorns on them, but they have berries that we can harvest. And so we wait until after the first frost, and then we hit that tree with a stick and put a blanket under there and collect them all that way. Well, that's what happened to Napi. He's seen berries in the water, and he wanted them. When he'd dive in, there'd be no berries. And he kept seeing them, So finally he tied rocks to his ankles and he jumped in there, and he almost drowned. When he come back up, he looked, and here that tree was above the water. And he was seeing its reflection, so he started beating it up with a stick. So, those are the child type stories that we learned, but they're still relevant today. And there's actually one story which really, really makes me think, right? Is because during the fur trapping days, must have been the late 1800s, early 1900s, somewhere around there. There was this Blackfeet. I'm pretty sure he was a blood. He was a Kainai. And where he came from, up in Edmonton, he was going back to Edmonton. And when he got there, he seen a lot of these traders and stuff. And he knew one of them. His name was Shorty. He knew this guy. And so he told him, he said, look, let's go back where I'm from, and we'll gather more supplies and we'll bring them back. And he said, all right. He says, well, there was two of them. There was Broken Knife and then one of his friends. And he says, well, we'll take you guys back and we'll go and check this out and, get more supplies. So they trekked all the way from Edmonton, Canada to the East Coast. From there, they finally got on a ship and went overseas. And when they got over there, this is what's interesting, that Shorty, the non-native, he knew Napi, knew about Napi. And he said, Napi stays here. He says he stays in this stone house kind of further away, way out where there's no houses or anything, that's where he stays. He says, maybe you guys should go visit him. So Broken Knife and his friend, they went out to go visit him. And let me back up. Before he went, Shorty told him, but don't stay overnight with him. When you stay overnight, one night, that's 1 year staying with him. So if he tells you to stay 2 nights, you'll be gone for 2 years. So don't stay with him. And they went up to that house and they knocked, he opened the door, and it was an old man. It was an old Blackfeet. It was an old man. And he was talking to them, and they knew who he was. They knew it was Napi. And eventually, because he was really happy to see people from his homeland, and he invited them in. And when they went in, they had conversation and stuff, but he eventually invited him to stay overnight, and they kept refusing him. So finally, they end up leaving. They says, "No, we got to load up our ship full of supplies and head back." And so he went back with them to see him off after they loaded the ship and they left. And that was the last time they seen Napi. But that was a more modern story, which kind of really makes me think, when the creator took him back, where did he go? I mean, I thought he went back, to the spirit world with the creator. But there are other stories of tricksters, and this is what I was alluding to, was that they have this trickster overseas too. And we know in the Blackfeet way that long time ago he led a migration out of here and eventually led a migration back. So this modern type story kind of backs those old stories that he did travel all over the place, and who knows if he's still there today. I don't know where that place is, but there's more to that story. So when they were coming back, what ended up happening was that Shorty, he started getting jealous, and he started thinking, that Broken Knife was having affairs with his Cree wife. He was married to a Cree. And he devised a plan to abandon them on an island. And that's what they did. They went out so far, and he says, "Hey, why don't you guys go out? We're low on rations. Go get us some more meat, you and your friend." And so they did. They went out and they were abandoned. They watched that ship sail away, and they were stuck. And so they went all the way up to the highest bluff that was up there, the highest point. And Broken Knife told his buddy, he says, "I'm going to show you some of my power, my medicine that I have." And he blew his eagle bone whistle when he was standing up on that bluff, and he jumped. And when he jumped, he shapeshifted into an eagle, a bald eagle, and he flew back around to him, and he landed. And his partner says, "All right, well, let's go down to the water. I'll show you my power, that I have, my medicine." So they go down to that water, and he does his, and he turns into an otter. And they talk to each other. They say, "All right, well, let's travel this way." He says, "I'll fly low next to you above the water. And he says, "All right, I'll swim on top." So they could see each other, and they traveled that way. And when they finally got back to the East Coast, they were really tired. They were just like withered and, tired, just pretty much beat down. And they end up trekking all the way back up to Edmonton, back to that place. And they went back to their tribe. And they sent word to this, I guess he was like a shop, owner, like a mercantile merchant. And they sent word back to him that they were back, and he was scared. He was, "Oh no." He knew he did wrong, and he was scared. But when Broken Knife finally went back up to him, he just was talking to him, and Shorty asked him to take pity on him because, he was going to take all those supplies and make him give them to all the people. But he ended up taking pity on him. He didn't make him give all the supplies up, but he gave quite a few of them up. And see, that's the last time we have a story of ever seeing Napi, was at that time. And that was late in the fur trade days. So how this all relates, in my mind, down to the SkinWalker Ranch where we went. And let me preface all of this by saying there are a lot of spirits down there in that place. There's a lot. It's really similar to where I grew up at in the Medicine Valley. There's a lot of spirits down there, and you could feel them. And as soon as I got to that place, man, I had that same feeling. And I don't know how other people feel when they know there's things around, but for me, it feels like when you're going over a roller coaster and you have that excitement. That's the only way I can describe it, and it's in my chest, and I know there's a bunch of them around. I feel it right in my body. But that's how I felt there. So I was approaching it, and a respectful way. I was offering tobacco, I was saying prayers, I was putting up barriers around where we was going to be, primarily. I did this every night we went to this place. But just to be clear, the property we was at overlooks SkinWalker Ranch. And we're across a valley, so SkinWalker Ranch is over in the distance, but you have a clear line of sight of this place and the mesa and all of it. You're right there. But at that place, one night Don told me, he says, offer some tobacco or pray to that fire. And if you want, ask it to come out with you guys and be with you. And I was really cold that night, and I was thinking about what he said. So I started praying to the fire, and asking it to come out, if it wanted to. And I was kind of introducing myself to it and saying, my uncle told us stories about you, how we would carry you from camp to camp every time we'd break camp, and we'd never let you go out. And you're in every one of our ceremonies. Everything that you do for us has benefited us, and I see you, and that, thank you. So, the kind of how I was talking. But as soon as I did that, I stood up, and I looked up, and I seen the 4 non-natives that were with us standing on this little tiny hill, like a little berm, and they were looking across at that ranch. And when I stood up, I seen this big, tall, dark figure. It was about 7 feet tall, and it was bent over, like it had its hands on its knees, and it was it was looking in the same direction they were. But they didn't even know it was standing by them. They had no idea it was standing there. And anyways, I see it as I throw that tobacco in that fire. I look over and I see that, and I'm just getting ready to get up, and I have to double take. And when I double taked, it was gone. But that big, tall, dark shadow figure was there. And that one, it's not bad. It's not. To us, it wasn't. Now, I can't speak for other folks that disrespected, spirits like that, those old ones. Old's not the word for that spirit. Ancient is the word for it. Old is like, 1700s, 1600s. No, this thing's ancient. This being, whatever it is ancient. And when I told Don about that, he suspects that was the trickster there. And he has his own cultural stories about this trickster. And that really made me think. I was talking to my wife later on about that, and I said, the creator took Napi back. And we know this. It was on the Highwood River in Canada during the time they were picking wives. He was taken back at that time. And this is according to Percy Bullchild, one of the elders of the Blackfeet. He passed on, but this is according to him. So he was taken back at this time, and I wondered to, my wife, I was saying, look, but they have stories of him today, like they still have stories of this trickster down there. And I said, do you think he was only taken from our people because maybe we didn't need him for whatever reason? Who knows why? We can only guess at that. But I'm left with thinking he was taken from us, but he's not totally gone because of what Don says about this trickster. And all tribes pretty much have stories of a trickster, and not even just us, even overseas, even the other folks, they might just call him something different, like Loki or something, they might call him something different. But there is a trickster in all these stories. So I really wondered about that. Now, with this SkinWalker Ranch, we actually went onto the ranch, onto the property at one point. We had a friend down there. Don and I have a mutual friend that lives there. And she took us, her dad's property. There's just a little barbed wire fence that separates their property and SkinWalker Ranch. And so I went with them, and we walked around over there, and we started looking, taking pictures, things like that. And we end up going to an abandoned homestead kind of further away from the mesa, more out into the flat area. And when we first walked there, our friend's ex-husband was with us too, and he said something I won't forget, man. He was walking in, and he was saying, now this place freaks me out. And I was like, oh, what? What is that? Because I couldn't really hear him, and I thought I heard him say that. I was a little bit behind him, so I caught up, and I said, what was that? And he said, yeah, this place freaks me out. He said, the people that lived here, they all left. All of a sudden, they just quit, and they left. And they abandoned this place because they kept getting spooked in here. It was really haunted, and they couldn't get it to quit. So they all left. They abandoned this homestead. And it's a nice spread. There was a lot that they did there. They were, they had farm, chickens, all of that stuff there. And it was just, everybody just left. You could tell it was abandoned just suddenly, There's signs of it around that you could tell. So when we get to this place, there's a big tree in the center, and it was struck by lightning, or it had been in a fire. I walked up to that tree and I put down some tobacco and I prayed that we're safe and we're protected there. I invited the creator and the different spirits that have helped me in my life. I invited them there to protect us and help us, keep us safe while we're walking around this place. Because soon as that whole area, you could feel something in there. I don't know what, it wasn't good, whatever it was. So you kind of on edge the whole time when you're there. And whatever it is powerful too. You could feel the power in it, because that feeling I was describing in my chest was like humming up. And I knew there was something around there that was pretty strong, whatever it was. But I also got the feeling that it wasn't good. It didn't like us. It didn't want. It wanted us there, but it wanted something from us. Is how I would kind of describe it. Well, anyways, so I got my protection with me too, and I'm walking around with that in my pocket, and I have two of them, and I give one of those stones to my wife as well. And we're walking around with this because I don't want anything to follow us out of there or bother us. But the whole time I was taking a video with my phone, just walking around looking at all of it, and I thought, well, if I want pictures, I'll just go into the video and capture one of those images if I want pictures. And that's what I did that whole time in there. My wife, she was just walking around taking pictures, and we were following them around and stuff like that. We're checking each building, just looking around. We didn't take anything. I made sure nobody was taking anything. I was really watching, because I was worried about that. Well, everybody approached it in a really good way. It wasn't bad how we went in there. So, by the time we were leaving, I made sure, that we did something that I don't really want to explain it, but we did something to ensure nothing would follow us when we left there, and I included everybody in it. So we leave and we go back to the room that night, and we start looking at our pictures, our footage, and in that video, I'm watching, and there's a shadow being. It's peeking at us. It's looking at us in one of those buildings. It's not the home itself. It's a building off to the west of there. And we were looking in there, and I don't know what that building is. I don't know what that was used for. You can't really tell, but there was some sort of stoves and machinery in there, it looked like. But this thing was peeking around one of those stoves at us, and it looks like a little kid. That's how it looks. It kind of looks like a little girl almost. That's kind of what it looks like. But that whole time, like I said, I could feel something there. It was making me almost anxious too. And I could feel something. I was trying to relax, but it was kind of intense, like tense in there. But my wife was looking at her pictures, and the image that she caught in this window was of a face that was really big. You see my face, this face was about that big, bigger than mine. It's a big, big face, and you could see its hair, it's all kind of messed up. You could see its eyes are all messed up. One of its side of its smile goes up, and the other side of its smile is a frown, goes down. And you can tell it's got a nose, but it didn't look right. It looked like it was really beat up bad, like somebody really beat the hell out of it. Or it looked like Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. That's how it looked. It was really bad. But so at first we thought it was pareidolia, and we start looking at our other pictures, going through our other pictures, and the timestamps are just like seconds apart from before and after this one picture. And in those other pictures, we don't catch this image in there. We don't. So we kind of ruled out that it was pareidolia. Not only that, I went through the footage of when we first walked in that door next to this window. There's nothing in that. There's nothing in that window. There's nothing behind it that would make it look like that. We really tried to rule this out because, well, for one, it was scary. We were seeing something really, really scary, and we thought, this can't be. But it was true. There was something we were seeing in that, something that was looking at us, watching us. So, anyways, there's more that happened in this area. But Dawn, would you care to explain about that trickster on your end?
Yeah. The Trickster is very on the Navajo culture is very interesting. There's multiple stories about him, and there's we use him as stories as a character correction. Like saying don't be selfish, just like the coyote. Don't share with everyone else. Consider everyone's personal space. Just stuff like that. And one of the ones that really sticks out to me and uh, really ties in with the SkinWalker Ranch and the story really sticks out because the Trickster in the previous world, he always came and helped us out, taught the medicine men, taught us tricks, taught us how to open things and heal each other. And he also taught us astrology. And he also taught us witchcraft. So he's responsible for a lot of things in this world. And in the previous world, the last world, he caused the flood because he stole the water monsters babies, the water monsters. So he stole them and caused a huge flood of the last world. And the reason why he stole that, let me back up, is because so the two worlds went away. They're in the third world, and there's two coyotes. The one coyote is the good coyote. Then he taught us a lot of things, taught us good medicine. And there's the other coyote. He was hatched in an egg in the deep ocean. So that's how his origin. He was an egg in the ocean. He came out and came to the surface. And he always came to the people, to a lot of people claiming that he knows everything. He knows the secrets of the world. He was there when the holy people dressed the planet with vegetation, rock, and dirt. And so, as they're in the third world, the good coyote and the Navajo people and the normal people, there's multiple tribes there. So we were planning this fourth world, and they purposely left out the Trickster, that coyote guy. So they left him out, and whenever he would come around and ask him, "What are you guys doing? You guys are all gathered here. There's a meeting here." And he'd be like, "What are you guys planning? Count me in. I want to know what you guys are doing." They would say, "No, we're not doing anything." They would just be playing whatever, just till he walks away, and then they would immediately plan again. And somehow, some way, he knew what they were doing, and he caused that flooding of the last world. Also, when he came into this world with us through a portal that opened up in the sky, and so. Oh yeah, yeah. Just looking around. Sorry. Yeah. So, he caused the flooding, and he came into this world. He always told us that he knows all the secrets of the universe. So, so the origin of the SkinWalker Ranch, where it ties in, is goes all the way back to the very beginning. The first world, the world of darkness. So a lot of people associate that with before we came into this human body. We were just mist and vapor, and then we became thinking beings. And then we started having emotional, and then we started having confidence, and we were aware of the first world. We were just floating around, and we seen the holy people, and the holy people always called us their children. Sha'chin, that's what they would say to us, my children. So what they did was they went all around the whole world, the far reaches of the galaxy, and they brought back material, rock, dirt from different parts, and brought them upon a crystal, a huge crystal rock. And in Navajo is Tsega Indini. Tsega Indin, Tsega Indini. So that's a rock that gives off light, a crystal, not just any rock, a crystal. So that's like a secret technology, which involves chanting, frequency and vibration, and the words that you use, you have to use it in a perfect way. You got to have the notes, you got to have the words in perfect synchronicity in order for that rock to open, in order for healing to come about. So there's just that in itself is very strange. So the holy people brought dirt and rock all around this crystal, And so, hearing that Skinwalker Ranch and hearing about the that mesa, and that mesa, we have a mesa like that, and it has water deep inside that mesa, and there's crystal inside, and there's always UFOs, there's always a high strange events going around that mesa, just like Skinwalker Ranch. We have the same thing here. So that's what one of the stories that I was told, that the crystal is the foundation of the world, and the coyote, he wants to keep that to himself because he was left out of the last world. He was left out of the creation of this fourth world, this fourth dimension, this 4D. So yeah, the fifth world is supposed to be thinking, we're supposed to reach another level. And so we always came through another way, through a portal, from previous worlds. So that's what our laptop is pointed at. And if you guys see anything interesting back there, let us know. And so the Skinwalker Ranch, the lore gets really thick, especially for the Navajo side. At one point, the Navajo had a hogan and the Ute had a teepee side by side, and we were brothers. And in my clan, we have a Ute clan, and we have multiple different clans that descend from different tribes, but we all come under one banner, is Navajo. And so we intermingled a lot, and one point came when America came and they betrayed us. It happened. They came, and a lot of the medicine men, they claimed broken circle. That term circle is unity, humanity, all together. And if that circle is broken, that means all bets are off. All fighting is dirty fighting. We take the fighting from the physical into the spirit, into the supernatural. The warfare continues onto there. So which hints to witchcraft, which hints to black magic and all that. So the medicine men went all the way up to that Fort Duchesne area, and they placed a curse on their land, so they wouldn't go to their sacred areas to perform ceremonies that they need to. And yeah, so they say that there's a trail of Skinwalker that goes there. So maybe that Skinwalker is Navajo, goes up to Fort Duchesne and places his curse. And that there is evidence of a crystal underneath that mesa in Skinwalker Ranch. So that's the foundation of the earth, and that's when that's where that picture is famous, where lights are coming from inside that mesa, because it's that crystal. It's that secret technology, probably the possible technology that can advance us out of the oil age. There's secret technology around, and they know about it, and they're protecting it. Yeah, so that's pretty much in a little nutshell, as best as I can for you. Yeah,
that makes me really think hard about the part where you were talking about the fire too, and me seeing that big tall being there. Like I still kind of, that still goes through my mind and makes me really, I don't know. I really don't know what to make it at, bro. I don't, because okay, so this is why now. So my wife gave me permission to talk about this. She says she don't want to, but she gives me permission to talk. And so at one point she was laying on this cot out there on that property, and when she knows there's people around her, and she opens her eyes, and there's that big tall one standing there, and he's really big. She said, he's really, really tall. She didn't say exactly how, but she says he was really big. And there was another one standing next to it. So you got the big one, and then one here standing on one side of her cot. Then you got there was a little one. He was only about that big. There was a little one standing up by her head. And then there were two that never talked. They just watched everything. That's it. They just watched. So that happened on the second night that she's seen this. And let me go back, because this is really relevant here. So the first night I went there, when I put out the tobacco and I made offerings to any spirits that were there, and I was praying for protection at the same time, I was inviting all the good, and I was trying to push out all the bad. And I end up walking around that property all by myself when it was dark. I end up walking around that whole place because my elder told me when I was really small, he said the best way to smudge and to pray or anything like that is to make sure that all the lights are out. No lights should be on. There shouldn't be no TVs or radios or anything like that. Any sort of electronics, you're supposed to nullify all those. And so it was a perfect time to do that. There was nothing out there. I left my phone in the truck and I started walking. And I was just looking around at first, kind of being with my own thoughts with myself. And um, I had no preconceived notions of this place. I know nothing about this place. I can't watch the Skinwalker Ranch TV series because it seems too fake, like reality TV fake, it just turns me off. So I struggle with that. So I don't really know anything about this place other than quick snippets here and there on, like, say, YouTube Shorts or something like that. I'll see something on there and give it a little time and scroll on. But when I was walking down, I looked up and I was further down toward that big tree. You know where that big tree is? Before you cut down that bank and you go down toward it, I was right there and I looked over into that field and I seen these three tall things. Two of them were kind of close to each other, but one was a little off, and it was tall. They were all tall, but it seemed like one of them was a little bit taller. And I seen that. I looked, and I kind of like focused. You know how at night when you don't look right at it, when you want to see something, you look around it. That's what I was doing, and that's something. So I put my head down. And I didn't want to stare at those spirits because, it's in our way, it's disrespectful. Like, say a spirit comes into a sweat with you or something and you can kind of see them. That sometimes there'll be these blue lights or just whatever you see, you're not supposed to stare at it. And that's how I approached that. So I kept walking. I didn't acknowledge them because I just put my head down and I kept walking. I felt like I should just be quiet. And so I was walking down low off of that little high ground where that little irrigation canal runs. There's a little flat part you can walk on. And that's where I was walking. And I couldn't see my truck, or the landowner was there too. I met him and I couldn't see their vehicles up there. And as I'm walking, there's two things beside me, like right beside me. I could hear them walking. And then all of a sudden one starts behind me. So there's these three things following me. And I'm just walking down that little thing. I stop because I'm thinking, is this maybe those mice down here, or maybe those lizards? Is there something, animals here that are walking with me? I thought. So I'd stop. They would stop. I'd go further. They would stop. They just kept following me, just sticking right with me. And I start getting this feeling that they're just curious. They're trying to see who I am. So I prayed, I prayed a lot down there when I was there, and I was, letting them know that it's okay. It's okay if you're here with me, and thank you for being here with me. And once I said that, I kept walking and they didn't follow me no more. I walked up all the way to the end where that little dirt road is and the property ends there. I stopped there. I walked right near where I seen that big tall being the next night. And so I was walking around that way and I come all the way back, right to where I ducked down and went to that low ground, and I sat there, and I was looking across that flat over to that mesa over there, and it sounded like water, how water rushes, how that sound is, and then also how dirt or sand sounds when it falls off of like a little dirt hill or something. That those two sounds, it's like an abrasive sound. Plus the water, I heard those two things together coming up that hill toward my feet. And it stopped about 5 feet from me. And I kind of chuckled, I don't know why, but I kind of chuckled because I knew it was a spirit at that point. I knew it was. And I just kind of chuckled like, oh, thanks. Thanks for being here. Like, I'm here in a good way. I'm trying to cause no trouble here. But thank you for, seeing who I am. And I get up and I go back to that truck. All right, so back to my wife. She sees those beings standing all around her cot. And when she first was laying there and she got a feeling there was something around, they said, you can open your eyes. It was that tall one. said, "You can open your eyes," and she opened her eyes, and that's what she saw. And he was talking. And this is the second night he was talking to her, and he said, he says, "Wait," she asked it, "How old are you?" And he says, "Well, what's old? 100 years is old." He says, I'm really old." And she started getting scared, because when those really powerful good spirits are around, it it gives you this feeling, you have a physical reaction to it, and a lot of people feel intensity. They feel like this really tense time because that power is there. They're really powered. There's a lot of life force in them. And it bleeds out, and you can feel it. And she started getting nervous, and one of them laughed, like a happy laugh. The one that was standing next to him laughed, and she said that one looked like a woman, but it laughed, and that laugh set her at ease, and so she kind of relaxed. And during this whole time, that little guy was really trying to talk, but he knew his place, and he didn't speak out of turn. He waited for those other ones to talk, and well, the other one to talk, and he was telling her things too. It was saying, if you hear something out here, if you smell something out here, or you sense there's something around, it says it is. You did see it. It's us. We're here. It says, and she asked it. She says, "Well, what do you guys do here? Why are you guys here?" And he says, "We protect this place. We protect it." And he said, if people are sensing things and they get scared, then he pointed at me. He said, "Just have him smudge them, and it'll be all right." He says, "Just have him do that." And so finally, he looked over at that little guy, and that little guy, it was his turn to talk. And okay, now I got to stop again and back up. So right before she was laying on that cot, about maybe an hour before that, this lady was there with us, this non-native lady. She's a clairvoyant. And she was sitting there all bundled up because it was cold. And something ran under her chair, and she thought it was a mouse. And she flinched, and she started looking around, but she didn't see where it went. And I didn't think nothing. I looked at her, and she was looking around. I didn't think nothing of it. And then she relaxed and sat back down and kind of disregarded it. And she said, "Oh, that must have been a mouse." And, we just agreed, and I kept looking at that fire. Well, as we were driving up that second night, we get by this house, and there was this cat that ran out. I only seen it in the middle of the road. It ran by the time we crested that little hill. That's where it was, and then it ran near this house, a black and white cat, really vibrant colors on it, though, really vibrant black and white. And I said, "Oh, did you see that cat?" And she says, "Yeah." And we just kept driving. That's all we thought about it. We get up to that place, and so now that little guy is wanting to talk. And he said, "Tell that woman it wasn't a mouse. It was me." He says, that ran under her chair. And he says, "Also, did you see me?" He said, "Did I look like a cat? Was I running fast?" And he was going like that to her. And, she just talked to her, and she said, "Yeah," and how he looked was he didn't have clothes on, but he was clean, and it's really dusty out there, and he was clean, but he wore a shoestring strapped around his body crossways. It was like a shoestring, and there were trinkets on there, like coins, a bunch of little shiny things he had kind of tied to it, and that's all he wore. She said there was pieces of baling twine on it too that were tied on, and it must have been just the way he liked it. She said it looked like it was this stuff he found and he picked up, and he wore it because he liked how it looked. And eventually that little guy quit talking, and because that old guy was looking at him like, "You see what we have to deal with?" It's kind of like how he was, looking at that little guy, like almost impatient with him because, he still needed to talk to my wife. And so he said, "Look," and she sat up, and he said, because he was pointing toward that mesa that Don's talking about. He said, "Look, And on that mesa, right above it, she said, I could see light coming out of it. It was going like that. She said it looked like fireworks shooting out of it. Says there was a lot of lights coming out from it. Says, and at the base of the mesa down here, she said there was this light, a white light coming across the base of it. It looked white to her. And she said the sky kind of had like this magenta color to it. And it was kind of, darker out. But she remembers seeing that. And that was it. She sat up. She sat up and it was all gone. It was all gone. She didn't see it no more. It was just there and gone like that. And those spirits were all gone too. They weren't around her no more. Because that guy who owns that land came up to her. And when he came up to her, all that went away. And so he had to talk to her about whatever, this and that. And that's what she's seen that night. And I really think about that because the last night we were there, when Dawn and them stayed with us at the Airbnb, my boy texted her a picture. And he said, Mom, I've been Googling where you guys are at because we left our kids home. And, with their oldest sister, she watched them all for us. Well, when he sent that picture, he says, you guys are crazy for going there. But I've seen a lot of stuff about this place. And look at this picture, Mom. And he sent a picture of her. And my wife looked at it and she said, who made this picture? Like, how did they see this? And it was really freaky because she just described that to me the previous night. And she never seen that picture before or anything like that in her life. And it really stood out. And she said, I remember her saying, look, there's that magenta I was talking about. And there was some in that picture. And she said, did these guys just AI generate this photo? Like, how did they know that those things come out like that? How did they know that? And it really baffles her, that picture. I don't know why, but that one really baffles her. The one that makes me really think about, I guess, how dangerous this place could be is that face that was looking out that window at us. So if anybody ever goes there, don't think it's Hollywood. There's a lot of spirits there. There's a lot. And you need to approach it in a respectful, humble way. Don't go there. See, when we went there that first night, we didn't take any pictures. We didn't, we weren't there for that per se. We weren't. That's not what we were there for. And we made that known. Like, we're not here trying to capture ghosts. We're not, doing anything like that. And anyways, if you do go there, you got to really make sure, because there's things that can follow you from there. I've heard the guy that I was there with, who invited me there, I heard him talk about some sort of a hitchhiker. We don't call him that, we just say something followed you. And the same thing. But those things that are there, they can, and I think they would follow you. And when that old spirit, that ancient one, said we protect this place, think about that. If you're there raising hell, well, they're going to protect that place. And that thing is powerful. I mean, powerful. When we say that, when we're speaking of power, we're talking about the life force. I keep going back to that flows through it. It's a lot, man. It's a lot that flows through that thing. So there is no distance. There's no time to them. And it can follow you if you're raising hell. I don't know if that's the thing that would follow you, but I know there are things there that can. So really beware of that, you folks, if you ever try to go there. It's a place that needs to be approached with respect. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but, well, I could have missed my opportunity to meet you. I kind of kicked myself in the ass for that, man. But I'm not making a living off this, so I have to do work. So that was a pretty hurtful excuse right there. But man, I missed out on a golden opportunity, like you were saying. But the SkinWalker Ranch, it was interesting for a while. Then I was like, oh, okay, well, that's another Skinwalker stuff. It was like, well, I know Don. I tell Don, I was like, well, I wasn't. It wasn't my interest to go over there, but since you guys were there, I was like, oh man, like, come on, like I could have been there, man. I could have been there and seen some stuff with you guys, and just live, live around you guys and be around you guys. But as for that too, these shadow people, these shadows, that we seen them too. We were shooting a documentary. We seen some stuff like that. And I came into the paranormal stuff. I like I was telling you before, I knew it was real. I know it's real. The medicine is real, and these people are seeing stuff. They're not just they're witnessing something they can't explain, and that shouldn't be so. It shouldn't be scary. There should be nothing scary about it. The only thing freaky about it is maybe it's the first time you've seen them, but it's good to capture the Native American side of this world. Turtle Island. Like everybody around here, and I just it's always an honor to meet another tribe out there, and have their influence on stuff, their mindset. I can't. It's difficult for me to look at this world and just be one-minded. Oh man, we got one-minded aspect of stuff like this. So, as for Don was saying too, these trickster, wherever they go, whatever part of the world you are, there are these trickster spirits. Whether they come as a clown or entity or stuff like this, like a coyote, but these deities, they're strong. They're really strong, and they have a strong influence on the people of this world. Like you're saying, no matter where you go, there's always that trickster entity. There's always that trickster, but he plays his purpose. As for why and when, but you should be also held with respect. Especially going in and you talk about the Native American side of this world, how we see it. And, we should all look at this world with open eyes and open respect for one another. And we should, get together. I do agree on, some stuff you shouldn't, I want to talk about more. I'll just mention it and that'll be it. So just for, safety purposes and stuff like that. And, before, like, we're talking on the chat, and they not to say too much, but they hear a song, they kind of whitewash everything after, and they call it their own. So and they try to mimic a sweat, and they actually got a bunch of people killed. So as for that, I'm not gonna say too much about it, but it's an incident that happened out here. And it's really interesting, man. It's really interesting stuff. And I have my experiences, and we'll go into that. And maybe one of these days, well, not one of these days, we'll go out there to your nation out there. And I never really met a Blackfoot besides you, so it's it's always an honor, always a special treat to meet another Native American Blackfoot, and also share the struggles of owning and operating a radio station. So, and also we got the podcast going on, so in that aspect we can struggle together with that. And if you need help, we'll help each other out, and that's the best thing we can do. And that's how it should be. That's how this world should operate. Sadly, the world falls away from that more and more. But as for this, so how was the drive, man? Was that the first time you ever been out here to the Ute and the Navajo?
Yeah, it was the first time. Well, we've been down to Durango once, but the drive down was pretty good. I know we're out of time. We better cut it short, guys.
Okay.
Oh, you got a cruise?
No, I see you're at an hour. Are we still good to go for
Oh,
longer than
no,
that?
no, we got hour and 45 or 2
Yeah.
hours. It's good. I was just waving hi to everyone. It's all
Okay.
good.
All right. No, the drive was good. We stopped wherever we could, took pictures. It was a good drive down there. You know, it was the first time that we've been that way from Salt Lake, cutting over into that area. It was pretty nice. First time I've been to the Ute Res, and meeting Cheryl and them down there. It was really cool. Everybody was nice to us, I have nothing but good things to say about, heading down there to that res, and that land and that area. It was pretty good. Going back to that sweat lodge thing, the reason why that people got hurt. Okay, so here was a guy I was talking to. He's a holy man. I guess you say a medicine man. And somebody brought up one time, they said, I struggle with sharing too much things because I'm worried they're going to come and take it, like you were saying, and try to use it as their own. Well, what ended up happening with that is they did the same thing, but what they were missing was rights, a rights transfer to that medicine, to that sweat lodge. Now, when that happens, what people don't realize is your spirit is transformed into something that can handle that. And if you don't have those rights, you never have that transformation. It's not a part of you. It's not who your spirit is. So when you have all of that life force that's in there, because there's spirits. When I say life force, think spirits too. There's the rock. There's the fire. There's the wind, and there's the water. There's those 4 elements. And together, when those mix into something like that, and you have the rights with it, all of that power is around you, all of it. And it can harm you if you don't know what you're doing, or if you don't have the rights to it. So what this holy man was saying is, let them take it, let them try it, and see what happens to them. That's his take on it, because he said, I think it's more important to share things with the folks that need them, the folks that are reconnecting and things like that. Just because a few are going to try and raise hell with it doesn't mean I should not talk to to people in general about this stuff. But where I draw the line is telling them, like teaching them their songs, because none of this works without the songs or without the certain protocol, like how it needs to be done in a certain order. There's an order to all of this. And what's more is when there's a rights transfer, even amongst tribal members, they're going to watch, they're going to test you, they're going to see how you live your life, if you're a good man and all that. So if that's not there, they even have ways of thinking you're going to get the transfer, but they don't teach you in the right order. So it never works. No matter what you're doing, it never works. And so that's another way that they hold it back, because it's really a powerful thing, and there's a lot of responsibility that goes with it. And some people just ain't ready for it. I could honestly say I'm one of those. I don't think I'm ready for something like that. And if it ever came my way, then I would know that I was probably ready because it came my way, right? But as of now, I don't think I'm ready for that. And I would never try to, go after something like that if I didn't need to, because it's not a collector's card collectible. You don't just collect it like that. No, there's always a reason that it's coming to you, and so in that sense, when you think about it in that sense, it's really a powerful thing. So this guy that tried to steal it, then that was on him, and another kind of cautionary tale about that is, one of my brothers, he was ceremonial brothers, he was talking to me one time, and we had the same elder growing up. And he said, one time we was at this Sundance, and I was getting rights. And we were sitting by this lodge. He says, and one of our elders was teaching me what to do here, And as he was teaching me this stuff, there was a non-native lady, and he used to let outsiders come if they were okay. He always thought, it's not my job to stand in between somebody and the creator, or else they wouldn't be here. And if they're here for some other reason, then we'll get rid of them. Well, this woman showed up and she kept trying to get close, and she would sit down and she'd really listen to them. And they noticed her and they says, "Hey, you need to go away. This isn't for you. This isn't for you." And so she kept getting kicked away, and she finally went way in the back, and she had one of those old camcorders with the videotape in it, and she was videotaping them. And she got that on camera, that rights transfer that was happening right there. And it wasn't supposed to be like that. And anyways, they didn't know she was doing that. Well, they were all going to town. Multiple cars were going to town to get water to bring back out there. And she jumped in that caravan in her car and she went with them. Next thing you know, she never came back. And when she was gone, somebody come up and said, "Hey, that woman right there that went to go get water, that when you guys are kicking away, we seen her. She was videotaping you guys." And they were like, "Oh no," they were, "Well, where is she? She didn't come back yet." She ends up calling the next day. She ends up getting a hold of somebody. This is the days before cell phones, so I think she called that house, and somebody was there, and they answered and sent word. And what she told them was, "I don't know what happened to me. I remember driving to town, and all of a sudden there's this time loss, and I wake up and I'm driving into Moscow, Idaho. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what's going on. Like I'm freaking out basically. Like, what do I do?" And so they all knew already what she had done. So they sent word out to the old man, and he told her to bring that tape back and give it back to us. You shouldn't have done that, and this is why you ended up there. They brought you there because of what you did. They don't want you around here, or you destroy that tape. And so word got back to her to what to do, but she wasn't allowed to come back out there, and those spirits even brought her away. So there is a caution to that. You don't just play medicine, man. You don't just fool with these things you don't know. Sage is another one of those things. For all you listening out there, you're not native or you were never taught these things, don't use sage, because everybody wants to burn it at night that doesn't know about it. When you burn sage at night, it has the opposite effect. It brings in those bad ones. So what smudge does really is it cleanses your area, cleanses your spirit, but it also pushes the negative ones away at the same time, inviting the good ones in, right? So when you burn sage after the sun goes down, it has the opposite effect. You can only burn it when the sun is up in our way. So, but if you watch a lot of these YouTube videos of people getting haunted and they bust out sage, don't know where they got it from, but they're trying to sage, it gets worse. That's why. You'll notice that too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the information, is they grab it and they manipulate it the best they want to, most likely is for profit. But the medicine that we talk about, we talk about it because some people say like to talk about it like it's real, like we talk about it because it's real, like these spirits are real. These stories that the Navajos and just Native Americans in general, wherever they are on this Turtle Island, they're all real. Everything's it seems so hard for people just to understand one aspect of life. So it's a unique situation to hear another tribe talk about their origin story, where they come from, where the people come from, and even with their songs and stuff, they always held with safe and honored regard, especially with the transfer of power, transfer of the medicine over, because I come to the idea is not everybody's meant to have certain stuff, and as much as other people try, they try to steal it and rob it, and that there's an underlying force of good and bad, good and evil, wherever you go, and it's unique. It's unique to hear your side. I'll always tune in and always listen. Like I do my best to not to be a jealous person, because that's not who I am. And the information that I give, it's the best that I know. That's the best information that was given to me. So look, it's I try to be a good storyteller, even though I kind of hiccup and my tone just kind of breaks in and out every once in a while. But I'll get there. I'll get there, because I was never a sociable person. Now I'm on a radio station and we're broadcast out of all these countries, and hey, I'm right here, so I'm working on that too. So and that. So what's your plans for in the future there, Rod? You got it?
As far as the big events, other than just having different guests come back on, I have 2 returning guests coming back that were really good before. As y'all know, Lee, a part of your team, he's coming back on my podcast, and Jasper Youngbear is coming back too, and he's the holy man I was talking about. That said, go ahead, take it, try it, see what happens. But those guys coming back are the ones I'm really looking forward to. Plus, there's a few others I still need to get in contact with and kind of line up. But the big thing is we're going back down that way to the Ute Res, July 15th to the 19th, and that really cuts it close to our Sundance, to the Okan. And so if it works out, it works out, but we're planning on going back. And if so, geez, we're going to be doing a lot of traveling at that time, and I'm actually looking forward to it. But when we go back this time, we'll have our own Airbnb, so Don and I will get to do a lot more things. And if you're around, Darren, come on up, if you can make it. I got it easy because they're giving me gas money. So I got it easy, right? Yeah, I know how hard that is, because I don't know if I'd have been able to travel this last time on such a notice, because it was relatively quick for us too. So no, I get that, you got to provide for yourself, and geez, if you can't, then what are you doing? Just putting yourself out to go vacation? That don't make sense. I get that. But yeah, that's what we want to do, is go back down to there, make it down to there, SkinWalker Ranch area, and eventually Monument Valley, where you guys are.
Oh yeah, come on down, man. This is this area is really beautiful, and it's been a while since I came back, and man, it seems like the rock formation is just the land out here. It seems like I couldn't download it right, like wow, like this is real, like man, this is people's backyard, like holy shoot. So if anybody's listening, come down to Monument Valley, be respectful, pick up your trash, and if you do, yeah, man, I'll come down and I'll join you guys. But I hate to make promises I can't keep. So if I hate to be that, so if it well, yeah, if we can, yeah, man, I'll be down here. And this is like I was talking before, this is Don's origin story out here. This is his part of the res, and later on we'll go tackle my area. And just recently, when you guys went out to SkinWalker Ranch, out of spite, I decided to try doing the TikTok live too, and I took the
Oh, you're muted. I think it's on his mic. His mic might be muted itself. Technical difficulties.
for real.
There you go.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
All right.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, like I was saying, I decided to try my luck at doing live. We're already doing it right now too. So decided to try it live, and we did see something. Something I can't explain. It was the first time I ever seen something like this, and I never heard stories. And I never heard any stories like what I seen. And I'll talk about it. I talked about it before, and I'll talk about it again because I seen it. I wasn't alone this time too. So, if anything, sign me a date, and I'll jump on your podcast, and I'll tell you more about it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you everything you want to know about why I'm on this radio station and doing this stuff. And it's a unique life. It's a unique lifestyle to live on these reservations. And I think it's time. It's time for the Native Americans to have a voice and tell their stories. And there's a lot of spooky stuff and a lot of beautiful stuff that happens on these Native American reservations. And I'm home. This is home right here, so it's even better. And it's just life. It's just a lifestyle. So, but as for that, I look forward to jumping on your podcast. And here's so. Yeah, tune into our live right here in a bit. You can follow us around, and we'll show you all the bits and the pieces to everything. So I'll give you a text after this, and I'll tell you a little bit more about giving off your location. So here's Doug.
Oh yeah. Hey Rodney, can you remind everyone where to find you?
Yeah, you could find me anywhere you get podcasts, Spotify. You name it, you can find it. It was on Podbean one time too. I mean, it's still getting broadcast to that. It's anywhere where you can find one. But the good, I guess, the full catalog is Patreon, because the network I'm with allows me to do Patreon members only episodes. So if you get on that, that's where you're gonna find a lot of the full catalog if you're a member on Patreon. It's $5 a month. I mean, and the rest of them are free. So if you want the members only episodes, just pay your $5 and just run through and binge them, then cancel. That's what I always suggest to do, because there's no need to pay every month when you can just binge them real quick and then be done that month and then wait for another batch and just repeat it. So, but yeah, that's where you can find me, is pretty much anywhere, on YouTube as well. So yeah. But SpectreVision Radio is who I'm with. So look at SpectreVision Radio. Send them your traffic. Go over there. They really like to see that, and so do I.
Mm-hmm. With your podcasts and all the amazing work and the amazing catalog that you have produced for all of us, what is your future goal? What is your drive to achieve beyond this podcast world?
Well, beyond that, walking the red road, I guess that's where my path is, because part of the ceremonies, and the older you get, the more you realize how important it is to keep that stuff alive, to pass it on to the generations, that are coming, that ain't even here yet. So we all have to do our part in that. And the older you get, the more you realize how important that is. Your community becomes forefront in your mind. So that's my path, and that's the path my wife is with. Same thing. So I think that's really where I'm going to end up. In the end, is somewhere deep into that, further than I am now. Yeah.
But every podcaster, especially you and I, have a great secret. That's the same thing. What's that secret? Is family. The whole time we were hanging out with you, seeing you and your wife just looking at the kids like, oh man, now I feel like a jerk. We brought the kids and now they're home and missing their kids and their dog.
Yeah. Oh, it was good to see them though, man. Heck, if we would have been more lonesome if we didn't see your kids, because it was just, brought us back. Same with your dog, almost the same kind of dog as us. Even had the same mannerisms. You pet them and they do that weird smacking noise, and when you're
Yeah.
petting them, that's exactly how my dog was. And I start missing my dog when I was petting yours, but felt good having them there. It was good. You should feel guilty. It was good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, with the when we went back with you that night, I heard the same thing you did. I heard a long stride, like a long footsteps left and right, like walking around me. You can tell it was a lengthy character, lengthy a being, a supernatural being that we cannot see with our naked eye. I can hear him walking around me and then I heard that jump in the water to that canal. Something hopped in the canal for real, or either stepped in the canal and came over to us, walking. I was like, oh shit, or sorry, I was like, oh damn, something's coming. And then Lysidric, Lee said that hey, something's coming your way. And then that's when you came out and you put another barrier up. And then Maddie was there too. He's like, hey, something's going on, something's coming. And whatever you put up, you did put a good barrier up, because not only did I hear that being walking around me, I heard a a woman scream, and also my daughter, she's seen that dark character. She's seen that figure walking around us, and it called her name. It said her name, and my son said he closed his eyes because he can hear it. He closed his eyes and he felt touch his back across his back. And yeah, she actually seen it. It was going around me in circles. She said it was really, really interested and very, very curious of us, like had never seen us before. But she also said that she did not get a headache as well. So a lot of high strange stuff. You got an extra battery? Thing's not charged right. Yeah, but yeah. That's the strange correlation that you guys both seen that dark figure that night. So, which was pretty awesome. It was, oh yeah, we seen the UFOs too. You remember that, right? When we got out, we looked up and they're streaking across. They disappear, reappear. It was like, hey, they're everywhere. But yeah, it was I was excited the whole time. I was like being a little jumpy, but maybe a little too excited. But but thank you for inviting my family and I out. It just put the top on everything. And I think I'm still enjoying that high right now. But appreciate that again. And we're out here at Miami Valley, and we're going to try to get on that Patreon bandwagon with you and try to do some content for everyone out there, for all the fans, and maybe you guys can so wait, hang on 1 second. We're trying to get live from my laptop right now. Hang on 1 second. But you want to hold this real quick? Go ahead and ask some questions.
Yeah, it's man, it bothers me to hear you guys talk about it, man. I could have been there. so that's a bummer, bro. That's a real bummer. So there's a next time, man. Life is not over yet. But I do like your you're leaving how would you say it? You're leaving an influence on the people, and as for myself and Don, we talk to each other and we try to, like, they're gonna remember us, right here in the stuff that we do and what we say. They're gonna remember. So, as for me, I don't like the idea of thinking thinking now. I like the thinking for the future. I don't think right now. I think for the future, plan for it, and I work to get there too myself. So, you might hear Don running around. This is live. We are live right now. So, as for
you're muted again, Darren. Yeah, you're muted up again. But just to keep going with this, I'll jump in here too while you guys are fixing your computer. One night, this is the first time I've seen anything like that with those UFOs. I've never seen anything like that in my life, and I always had this thing like, man, my brother's seen something, my sister, like everybody, my mom, even my dad. one was right above him. He was sleeping and he's seen it above him. The dog that was with him even looked up and seen it too. So, I mean, everybody's seen these things except me. And it's not like I longed for it or anything. I just never seen it. And when I went down there, I did. There was no way to describe what those were. And, me coming from my background, I still struggle with what they are, those UFOs, because what we were seeing down there were orbs. They were big orbs, big, but they were in the sky. They were like UFOs, and when we start seeing them, it's almost like one was on a loop. It would like flare up bright, come down around, and then it would disappear, and it would do it again and again and again. But we watched that for we must have seen about 100 of them or something. I don't know. There was a lot. There was a lot that night, and we got so curious that two of us stayed right where that big being was. We stayed right there on that little hill, and two went way around to the Ute side, and they come looking down from the other side of it. And when they did that, the footage that they showed me was like you could see these two little green orbs come out like they were little. There was two of them. Like, here's the mesa. These two things would come up and they would kind of be moving around, but they would almost like they were scouting. Then they would turn off. That's when that big one would flare, come out of that mesa, and kind of move a little bit like that. Then it would go down. Then you'd see the whole light on that mesa with the night vision. And I don't know what happened, but down a ways it would pop up again, or it was another one, and it just kept doing that, coming in and out of that mesa. It just kept doing that on that side. On our side, we couldn't see that happening. Instead, we were seeing way above the mesa. We'd see that thing come in, and then it would leave over by this stationary star. That's what I was using to gauge it. And I could just see it coming back around and around and around. And tell you what, I've never seen anything like that in my life. It was crazy. It was really crazy. I never experienced that, but I guess I have some experience with it now. But still, I struggle with that. I wonder about these aliens. Are they because to me they almost seem like spirits, like what we would call a spirit, because spirits they can travel distance. It doesn't matter. They can travel far. They go right through things, like phase through, I guess you could say. They mess with you in your sleep, your dreams even. They can take you places. So there's a lot of similarities in my mind, coming from my background when I think about these things. And I have no idea what they are. I think all of us are under the impression that they're these super advanced beings, whereas they might just be really old spirits. Who knows? I have no idea what they are. I really don't. But it's fun to think about. It really is. It's interesting, and it's fun to think about, especially when you see them. You have no explanation for them. There's no way to explain that. It's just something you have to accept. They're there. Simple as that.
Yeah, with the all these lights and UFOs, man, I see them all the time. I talk about it. I was like, I don't know what they are, but I think they're following me. I hate to say it like that, but it's not an uncommon thing for me to see lights in the sky. Some of them I recorded right after just doing a podcast episode. Right, walking to the store and look outside, like, oh, what the heck is that? And some stuff I record, and a lot of those I do. Like I was saying, like a whole week, I
There you go. Oh, wait. No, I still can't.
Can you hear me?
There you go. Now I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's very unique. It's very unique situation. And when I get into podcasts, I'll explain it to you. And some of them I do have recording of, and I do have drawing of some. It's out here in New Mexico. The my part of the res. The hills do have eyes, and we're not.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, where I live, I'm not too far from the nuclear sites where they're testing the bombs. Yeah, so it's right there. It's right. It's literally right there. Those giant radio satellite dishes that they have out there in the open. It's just right across the road. It's really not that far, So it's not an uncommon thing for me to see lights in the sky. And as for what they are, that's just part of the mystery. And as for talking about it, I think we should. I think we should talk about it because it'll let the people know that they're not crazy. They're not seeing anything off to the wild. So here, I'll pass the mic on right here.
Yep, and to add to the strangeness that we that you've seen and that I experienced. Oh man, the moon is blood red. Yeah, I know I was around a lot of sage when I was there. It was a male sage, exactly male sage. There's female sage and male sage, and I know that there's an elemental of plants. There's elemental of good plants that you need to take, and if you are gifted like one of our teammate Lee, he said that there's an elemental of plants. They'll let you know to take me. I'm good for you. There's a reason why that I'm here, so it will educate you. And as going up to the yucca, which is my fruit, yucca fruit, we're not original Navajo. We're adopted into the tribe. So as we're supposed to give discipline to the kids, we're not supposed to spank the kids with our hands. This is old teachings. So we're supposed to go find a yucca fruit, a bush. And then while we get to the yucca fruit, we will tell that yucca plant saying, hey, as we're getting exactly four strands of yucca fruit, you tell that yucca that I'm here, I'm taking these 4 strands off of you. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm going to discipline my son. He's naughty. He did something very naughty. So you're telling that plant that you're telling the elemental what you're doing. You're giving discipline. So you would bind those four stems together and you're praying. Then you would go back and spank the kid four times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then each time you would say, this is the reason why you're getting spanked. So you wouldn't upset the elementals, the element of fire, the element of water, the element of earth. And there's also another element. There's a wind element, and then there's one that helped us out a lot here in the Miami Valley is so the star people. And you would ask him, like, where's that skinwalker? Where's that Yenad Loshi Haja? You would do a prayer, you would ask him, and then they would send a shooting star that direction. You would see 1, 2, 3, and they would tell you it'll send the shooting star where it's walking, so you would be ready for it. So I was wondering, like, with all that, and ET, they do cloak. So I was wondering, like, are they cloaking? I know the lizard men in Navajo Mountain, that's their mountain as well. So they're always around, they cloak. And then one of the ways you can see them is if you have a Polaroid camera. You take pictures and you'll see them. They see them without their cloaking devices. So I was wondering, like, that's the same thing you guys got up there, the elementals of plants, and there's a deity, there's a spirit behind them, right?
Yeah, there is. We even have stories about them when they talk, they communicate with you and things like that. But what I thought about when you were first mentioning that is so when we go out to pick sweetgrass, you just offer once and you pray to it, and wherever you're gonna start picking, then you can go out there and you can pick. But let me just mention one thing: try to leave those roots in place. Don't take that whole root so it can grow back. Try to take the end of it and pluck it off and leave the root there. But what happens is a lot of times, like for me, I don't know why it is with me, but the sweetgrass hides from me. It hides. I'll be in one little spot, like a 3 foot by 3 foot area. My wife will be right there, right beside me. And it's just standing out to her, because what you look for is that purple, that little shoot is purple. If you look for that, you'll see it. And I can't see the purple. I look all over. One day, man, I was praying, I was doing everything right. And we were out in this place where we always pick on the res, and I could not find it. I just started laughing. I was thinking, geez, I wonder why it's hiding from me. And I brought that up to my mother one time, and she says, you know what? That's the same for me. Whenever we go out, I can't find it. It always hides from me too. We just laugh about it. I don't think it means anything, but if it's meant for you, it'll find you. It'll say, here I am, right? And so for whatever reason, at that time, it wasn't meant for me. And maybe it's because how we look at it is like a treaty, kind of, I guess you could say, whereas they know how much to reveal to you so you don't wipe them out. Maybe that day there was, going to be a lot taken from them and they weren't ready to give it up, give that much up. So I think about it like that. It's a preservation kind of thing, for them, because they do have their own way. They have, and they're powerful, Everything has a spirit. Everything has it. That's why, the native view is really unique in that we look at this whole world as being alive, and it's not like that with the non-native people. Not, I wouldn't categorize them all like that, because there's a lot that kind of believe the way we do, but in general, they think a rock is an inanimate object. In our language, okotoks, that's not, you're talking about an animate object, a rock. You are even a knife, istona, that there is an animate an animate object too. I don't know why that is, but the language suggests that everything is alive in our world. And so you always, respect hills, the rivers, the land itself that you're standing on. I mean, everything, the trees, all of it, they're all your relations. And if you don't believe that, then you look at the building blocks that are within the sun itself. All these atoms, everything that makes it up, they're the same things that make us up. All of it. We are literally created from stardust, all of us. We are children of these stars, of these suns out there. We really are. So those are everywhere in the universe, everywhere. It's the big old recycling on a galactic scale where the sun explodes and eventually it comes back and it restarts again and forms all this other life constantly, just on loop. It's a circle of life. And in that way, we're related to everything in the universe. And this understanding of it transcends the non-native view, because when we look at it like that, we look at the earth and we say, all right, well, I need to approach it this way. I need to respect it like this. I need to preserve it like this. And in that sense, the earth is our mother or even our grandmother. And there is no way in our way that we are going to harm our grandmothers. None of us will. We all protect our grandmothers. And so when we look at the earth like that, it's the same way, because the earth itself has a spirit within it too. The whole earth itself has one big giant spirit within it. And we live in that. We are spirit too. That's why when people say, oh, I'm going to listen to my gut, I had a gut feeling that this was going to happen. I look at that and say, that's your spirit told you that, because our spirit is part of this duality we live in, this physical and this spiritual world, and it'll sense things and let your body know, so that's part of it too. But the way we look at the land is very important. Like every mesa out there, every monument in Monument Valley, those natural monuments, all of them have a spirit. Every one of them is alive. And if you approach them like that, then that they're going to respect you back. It's all about that. It's all about respect to everything around you. And if you approach it like that, you'll always have good luck. You'll always have success, unless it's not meant for you at that time. then you'll know. You'll be diverted from whatever you're trying to do. But other than that, it's part of us. We are related to all of it, you know. And I think Darren was right. It's time for us to share this, and it's time for us to have a seat at the table, you know, and be taken seriously. Just because we have this understanding and this knowledge passed on to us from all of our ancestors from time, you know, immemorial, we need to share that because it benefits humanity. It benefits this earth that we live on. It benefits everybody. And if we keep, I'm not saying share your ceremonies, not the rites, you know, they don't just hand out rites to anybody, but if we share our ideas and how we look at the earth, I think it helps elevate humanity further than what we are today. And that will leave a better world for future generations. Imagine a world where everybody respected all beings that are around us. Imagine that. You know, in the Blackfeet way, the water was considered a sacred site. You know, it's sacred. The water is sacred itself. It's considered holy. Now, if we all looked at it like that and we realized that, there would be no pollution in the waters. You know, our people lived here for all of this time and we never polluted the waters, ever. You know, everything worked the way it was supposed to, the way we were taught by the Creator. And that's how we lived here. We were taught by that being himself. It wasn't just like we made it all up. We didn't make up any songs. We didn't make up how to paint people. We were taught that by these spirits. And they're the ones that give us those blessings. And we also understand that all of that power is just flowing through us. We're just a tool, a tool for it to reach us, to reach people. And that's all it is. That doesn't make you a saint. Don't make it anything like that, because it ain't you that's doing it. It's, you know, ultimately the Creator working through you. So that's where a lot of this comes into play too with the rights transfers. They ain't going to transfer it to just anybody. You know, you have to have these understandings, and it comes from a lifetime of living it. But it's never too late to start. It's never too late to reclaim your knowledge or repatriate things that you've lost in your tribe, you know, because we're doing it every day. All three of us up here are repatriating and reconnecting to our old ways every day, because we learn more and we learn and we learn and we keep going. And that's why it's really important in the Native way when people are talking. If you guys haven't noticed, we all get quiet and let the other people talk. You know, that's a big part of learning and living this lifestyle, is having that respect for the other people that talk. It's really important. Don't be that person that waits to talk, because you're not going to hear what they're saying. You're going to miss the message, because in your mind is noisy. You got to calm that down and focus on what they're saying. And the more you do that, the more you learn and the more you elevate yourself to a good place.
Wow. I don't say you have any final words, but I think you did more than you did. That was pretty good, man. I have to say. So, yeah, I totally agree. You know, we it's time for us, you know, to you know, share our visions of life, how we see life, you know, instead of it being you know, televised. And you know how like the people depict Native Americans and, you know, TV and stuff like that. You know, out here I think they got the wrong Native Americans playing Indians on this side, but hey, that was the spaghetti westerns and all that stuff. So yeah, we'll work close, you know, hand in hand with this. And the best thing we can do is just help each other, you know, and learn from one another. So not just for us, but for the future, I say. So it's always an honor, man. It's always a gift to talk.
Yeah, it's always good to be with you guys. I think you're on mute again. Yeah, it's always good to be with these two here. they got a lot to share, a lot of stories.
Oh yeah. Darren was saying that every time it's an honor. Every time you come on here, um, like myself for real, it's an honor. Hopefully, you when you come down, it'll just be me going to see you again. I was just kidding. We definitely got to bring Darren. We'll drag him along next time. Um, yeah, I just want to ask you if you can educate everyone on the Uniscum again,
Oh,
or just like
so
throw one as much as you can. Go ahead.
so the story of the Aniskum, we can tell that here, but we can't go any further than just the everybody story with that particular gift. So this Blackfeet girl, she was the second wife. Um, in those old days, they had multiple wives, and it was for reasons, and they didn't pick them. It was the women that picked if you were going to have a second wife or a third wife, and it was because their husband might have been killed in battle. Um, they might have just passed away for whatever reason, and so it was always a need to care for somebody else in that tribe. And the women said, "All right, well, she's done mourning and she's ready to have a child, so you need to give her a child." You were told to do that. It was the women's, duty to do that. It wasn't the men's idea for that. It was the women. That's how we cared for each other. So this second wife, this younger wife, she was out gathering wood, and the Blackfeet were hungry at that time. The buffalo weren't around too much. I don't know, maybe they migrated too far away from them or something, but they were hungry. And she was out getting wood, and she went into this little pile of wooded area, and she heard singing, and she walked toward it, and there was a rock there, a rock, and this rock looked like a buffalo. It looked like a little tiny buffalo, and it spoke to her. I'm not going to say what it said. That part we can't share, but it spoke to her, and it basically told her to listen to what it has to say to her. And it taught her all the songs. It taught her the ceremony that goes along with it and everything. And it said don't tell your husband just yet, right? And so she went into the lodge that night and she went to sleep. She kept it to herself, and then she dreamt and she had more dreams of it. It was teaching her everything that it was. It taught her the whole thing. And her husband was also a holy man too. So when she was able to, she finally told him what it was and what came to her. And so they had the first ceremony with it. And when they did that, what it did was it called the buffalo, and all the buffalo would come. After that, there was no starvation with them as far as the buffalo are concerned, because they would hold that ceremony and they would use that Iniscum to call the buffalo in. And so at times they would just put them in a corral even, or they'd run them over the buffalo jump. They would just be called right over and they would go. So that eliminated all of the 50-mile, 60-mile trips where the people would just run and get the buffalo, or in the later days they had horseback and they would chase them. It stopped all that. So it was really a blessing to the Blackfeet when we got that, and we're the only tribe that has an Aniscum, or the buffalo stone, the buffalo calling stone. We're the only ones that have that, and that's the blessing it was. And today we use it for good fortune and good luck and success and things like that. And I use it too as protection. That's what it's there for, is to help us and protect us, and feed us, all these things to succeed. So that's what I use mine for, is for the blessings it gives us in multiple ways. I'm always thankful to it. And they're in all of our ceremonial bundles. There's one in every one, and it's a pretty powerful thing that we were blessed with, and they're still with us today. So that's what the Aniscum is. And it's old. Let me just say that real quick. It's really old. The rock that that it's from. I really don't want to say what it is exactly, but I'll say how old those kinds of rocks are. They're 65 million to 135 million years old. They're ancient. They're really, really old. But that's what they are. That's what that is, and it's as much as I can talk about that.
And they do look like buffaloes. If I might add, they do look like a little buffalo. I was like, oh snap! Really, it does look like a buffalo. I see it. I was like, wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
But thank you again, Rodney, on that one. It's cannot wait to get you back again. What, end of this month, huh? Your part 4. We're gonna be getting into alcohol, spirits, and
Yep.
like a enslaving spirits, because I know that each and every reservations from to and from, we all are struggling with substance abuse, hardcore alcohol or hardcore drugs, what have you. And there's a lot of sick individuals out there. And I think, as long as we share the right way, to the good medicine for your mind, body, and soul, and your heart. That's what everyone leaves out all the time, your heart. And one of the ways that you can tell a person's heart is just let them talk, and just listening to you talk all the time in person, whether it be on the phone or on the air right now, your heart is good, such as Darren's, you surround yourself by good people, trees help each other grow. You don't see it from above, but under the ground, our roots are helping each other out and helping the younger trees grow. And with you out there, I draw inspiration from you and a few other people that share stories, and you're up there with them, and it's always an honor to share the space with you and to be on the same airwave as you. And hey, thank you for letting me breathe your air. On top of that, I was telling you during the TikTok live, I was like, hey, Rodney, thank you for we're just here over Rodney's shoulders. But
Yeah.
thank you again, bro.
Yeah, the honor was mine, man. It was really nice meeting you. Darren, when you get the chance, geez, we'll go and chum it up too. Like they said, we could camp on Cheryl's land if we want. She invited us all to camp there one night, so we'll all be at that Airbnb. And I'm not sure how many. I know we can make room for you no matter what. So if you want to come, just come on up on the 15th to the 19th of July. And then at one night, we need to go down there and camp, because I'll put barriers up. I'm okay with it. I've been there before. I kind of know what to expect, but we'll be okay, and I'm not saying they won't come to the edge of the barriers, or if they're good, come into our camp, but it's something that I would like to do, not just for the touristy type thing, but man, being around that many spirits, I mean, especially when you get the good ones around, it's a blessing. I don't know how else to say it. I feel good when I'm, around those good ones, obviously, but I think we could have that same good time with them too, just show them some respect. And I don't know what would come of it. It's whatever is meant to be will, and it's something I look forward to. So yeah, come on down there, and come on up if you can make it. But no pressure, bro. No pressure at all. If it happens, it happens, And I'll finally get to meet another celebrity, Darren Yazzie here.
I try to. It's hard for me to picture myself like that too. So, getting a lot of influence. People are, they know who I am. It's a strange, but yet it's amazing thing, because I would have never have been right here in this situation, in this life. I would have never thought I would be part of the radio station and having people listening to me, which is really amazing. And, like I was saying before, you get to meet a lot of amazing people. And I do mean that. You meet a lot of amazing people, and it wouldn't be possible without this, the radio station and then the technology that we have now. So that's a blessing in disguise too, amongst itself. So, yeah, yeah, man. Yeah. Have me. I'll get on your radio, your podcast here too, and I'll chop it up with you.
Yeah.
So, I think we're about.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're at the end of our show. We're gonna make some content for you guys on Patreon. So stay tuned and Rodney, as always, it's a pleasure. As always, I can't say that enough. Thank you for coming on. And one more time, can you let everyone know where to find you again? I'm pretty sure they all want to find you.
Yeah, Lodge Tales on Spotify and Patreon and YouTube. There's also the Lodge Tales website too. But the premier place for the members only, like I said, is in Patreon. But I would direct you right toward Spectre Vision Radio itself. It's good to get on there and show the traffic. It's really good for me, put it that way. But aside from that, if you can't do that, just anywhere you find a podcast, just come on. It's good to listen and learn and, well, just enjoy the stories, I enjoy them. My guests that I have on, sometimes I get lost with time with them. It's so enjoyable. I don't even realize it's going that long. But yeah, come on over. Check out Lodge Tales if you get a chance. I appreciate it. Your sound is muted again, Don.
Yeah, I was saying that. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I was saying that. All these years they just try to exterminate us and shut us down and shove us to the remote corners of the country, and hoping that we will drink ourselves away. Kill ourselves or kill each other, put us next to our enemy tribes, and hoping that we finish each other off. Make it easy for them. But we're not. And I think that this is a new age where all of us has a chance to. Oh man, just losing the mic, technical difficulties. But yeah, I was just saying that this is the new age. This is the time where every one of our tribes can come to the mic and educate everyone, because everybody out there, they don't understand us. We're always misunderstood from top to bottom, and the only way to get educated about us is to listen to us and to share what we have to share with one another. And right now, although we're different tribes, but all of us are all brothers right here, and we all have 5 fingers. We don't have 6 fingers. We're all 5-fingered beings here, so we all share this world together, and we all got to coexist. And yeah, and that's where I'm gonna leave it off. Yeah. Hey, 5 fingers magic, get him. You see pictographs here all over 6 fingers. So that was the giant people, and a lot of tribes, they went to war with them and took them out, and some of the tribes took them in and married them and had sex with them. So now we have clans, giant clans. They're gifted people as well. So that's what separates us 5-fingered beings from the 6-fingered beings. In Navajo, we used to say Dene, Ishla, Allah, or oh man, the 5 fingers. So we say, I'm Navajo, I'm a 5-fingered being. And we would go at this to every other tribe, and we would look at their fingers. And if it's 5, that means, hey, we're the same. Let's trade, let's talk, let's intermarry, new blood. So if you're one tribe forever, like Rodney said, you have defects, health defects. But you meet everyone else, you intermingle, human nature and all that. But I digress here. Thank you again, Rodney. You got any? You want to give any shout outs? You have any final thoughts for everyone before we close out the show?
Well, I'd just like to give a shout out to all the people on TikTok where we go a lot to share our stories, and that's Danita and Shira from the Midnight Cedar Society. They tell ghost stories all the time, and it's always a pleasure to be with them. Of course, Sean, his live over there, that's like the Gathering of Nations of ghost stories with Sean. So big shout out to him. Can't forget Big Indian and all of our moderators, Andrea, Little Wolf, Debs is one of mine too. Of course, Cheryl. So all of the people from TikTok, just many blessings and much respect to all of y'all. And thanks for listening to our stories, and a big shout out to the Dene people. Man, you guys are some of my best friends I've met in this world of ghost stories and everything. You guys are top tier in my books. I really have a lot of respect for you guys, and I appreciate you guys.
Likewise, brother. Likewise. There's a lot of love going on in this room. Air hug. But yeah, man. Likewise, man. One love, man. But yeah, it looks like this is the end of our show, people. Thank you guys for joining us. And you want to say any last words, Darren?
Well, we got a lot planning for the future, and it's good to be alongside friends, brothers. So that's a problem with life. So thank you again. We'll most likely have you on, and yeah, it's truly a blessing, man. Thank you.
Yep. And yeah, I'm gonna close out the show right now. Thank you guys for tuning into Don't Whistle at Night. We have been broadcasting live here on the United Public Radio Network, location Monument Valley, Utah, Four Corners area, Navajo Nation. And from host Don and co-host
Darren.
Yep. And from Rodney out there in Montana and Utah, we'd like to say thank you all. Good.
Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night podcast, where Navajo legends echo in the shadows. Darren and Dawn will guide you through the sacred fire of Native storytelling, where the old stories breathe, the unknown walks among us, and voices, long hidden, rise to be heard. And remember, don't whistle at night.